Sometimes kindness is like a seed that grows when someone cares enough to plant it. And if we're lucky, a small seed can grow into something bigger than we ever expected. The seed analogy is a lot more relevant to this story than you might think. It all began on this beautiful little farm in Millbrook, Ontario. Dave and Catherine run a small beef operation on acres of lush pasture where the cows roam free and graze as they wish. The cows live a happy life, and even the bull does his duty in the most natural way. The farm produces eggs, maple syrup, and hay. It's ethical farming at its finest. I've become good friends with these farmers, and I've spent time in their meadow, making a few cow videos over the past few years. What I've learned from Dave and Catherine has changed my view of beef farming. We were all sitting on their porch one afternoon, looking over the meadow where the cows were getting ready to give birth to their spring calves. I made a joke about how the calvings would be a good way to make some money as a fundraiser of some sort. People could pay for the privilege of naming the calves. We were all laughing at the ridiculousness of the idea, but Dave stopped laughing and got serious. We should really do this. We put it on Facebook, people pick names, and we'll write the names on the ear tags. And I want the money we raise to help that farmer friend of yours in Kenya.
No, I'm serious. We can do this. Let's make it happen.
My wife and I had become Facebook friends with a young farmer named Naomy who lives in Kenya, Africa. She struggles to support her family in a world where conditions are harsh. One of her biggest challenges is the school fees each year for her adopted son, Emmanuel. Emmanuel was left on his own as a 2-year-old, and Naomy welcomed him into her own family. I was impressed that Naomy would show such kindness at a time when she was struggling to take care of herself and her grandparents. Dave and Catherine knew that I had been uploading videos that Naomy sent of things in Kenya. We were using the earnings to help her with Emmanuel's school costs. Dave explained that there would be at least 20 calves born before summer. A calf naming fundraiser would go a long way to help Naomy and her family. And with that, a plan was hatched. A calf naming contest was posted on Facebook, $20 to pick a name and enter a draw to win a handmade charcuterie board, and our friends lined up for tickets. The cows did the hard part. We caught the calves and put the names on the tags. We posted the picture each time a calf was born. Donations added up to $450 and took care of Emmanuel's school fees for a whole year. There was even enough to buy him a new pair of shoes for the 3-kilometer walk each way. It was all due to a beautiful gesture of support and respect from a farmer in Canada for a farm family across the world. The idea had been just like planting a seed that would grow and eventually become something even bigger than Emmanuel's education costs for that year. Later that same summer, another farmer near me did something kind for our friends who were visiting from the Galapagos Islands. And as he did so, another seed was planted. Our friends Solon and Evelyn do some farming at their home on Santa Cruz Island. They were visiting us in Millbrook, and we were out showing them some sights. As we drove home past the Brackenridge farm near Bailyborough, our friends wanted to stop and take pictures of the massive combines that Steve and his son Chris were using to harvest soybeans. We had never met Steve or Chris until that day, but Steve got out of his machine, and he suggested that we let Solon and Evelyn's daughters climb into the combine with Chris for a ride around the soy field. The girls were thrilled to have such an experience, and we were all grateful for their kindness. Soon after, I flew my drone over the Brackenridge farm and took some pictures and video as a way to thank them. Steve liked the view of the farm from above, and he invited me to come and film the farm operation over the 4 seasons. He had an idea that the footage could be used in some way and asked what I would charge to film it all. Remembering what happened with Dave and Catherine's cows, I suggested that whatever the footage was worth to him could be used to help Emmanuel. I explained our connection with Naomi's family and the calf naming contest. Steve loved the idea of helping another farm family, and we started filming everything that happened on the farm, from the planting to the harvest. As I rode in the combine with Steve and Chris, they explained everything they did. I learned more about farming than I ever thought possible, and I saw a story about Canadian farmers that I felt people should hear. The world of agriculture is greatly misunderstood and underappreciated. I showed Steve the video that I put together, and the other footage, and he showed his friends at the Ontario Federation of Agriculture. The folks from the OFA loved the footage, and also the idea of helping Naomi's family. They bought the clips and Steve made a generous donation. Between them, the amount they've provided has created a scholarship that will cover the remaining 6 years of Emmanuel's education. Emmanuel will study hard and graduate in 6 years, all because a farm community in rural Ontario has funded a future for a deserving young man across the ocean. From small seeds of kindness, beautiful things can grow.